I found out that my husband had staged his own death to hide his philandering. I need to know if I'm overreacting because this situation is already insane. Here's a quick TLDR, though it's hard to believe. I'm Sarah, 35, and I've been married to my husband Adam for 6 years. We have 2 kids, Jason, 10, and Liam, 5. 11 years ago, when Adam and I were engaged, he went missing during a trip to Thailand. He was gone for nearly 5 years and later told everyone that he'd been imprisoned in Cambodia the whole time. Right after he left for that trip, I found out I was pregnant with Jason. During those 5 years, I became really close to his family, and I eventually met and fell in love with a man named Brian, who I got engaged to. But when Adam came back, I felt torn between picking up where we'd left off or continuing my relationship with Brian. In the end, I decided to give Adam and me another shot. We got married a week later, and I was pregnant with Liam within the year. I thought our relationship was fine. We loved each other, and though Adam was a bit of a workaholic, things seemed fine. I've never been one to get professional massages. Usually, I'm content with a shoulder rub from Adam. I've always thought of massages as a luxury I didn't need. But lately, Adam's been distant, and I've been stressed from work. A coworker of mine kept urging me to try out this massage place she loves, insisting that everyone there is amazing. So I finally decided to give it a shot. When I got there, the guy at the desk said they had availability and took down my info, telling me there would be a short wait. While I was waiting, I noticed a bulletin board behind the desk with 3 pictures from security footage and a note above that said, "Permanent ban." One of the pictures looked just like Adam. I kept staring at it until the desk guy asked if something was wrong. I told him, "I think I know that guy in the picture. How does someone get banned?" He explained, "Our policy is to ban anyone who asks for a happy ending." I was shocked. "People actually do that?" I asked. He nodded and said it's rare, but it happens, usually to the same therapist. He apologized for oversharing, but I told him not to worry about it. He said Lisa was ready for me, and I followed her down the hall. Lisa was a petite Asian American woman, and I had a hunch she was the one who kept getting these creeps. The massage was great, and we made small talk throughout. She had a total Midwestern accent, and I learned she'd worked there for about 3 years. But I couldn't help myself. I had to know the truth. So, as we were wrapping up, I came out with it. This is really hard to say, but I noticed the list of banned guys, and one of them is my husband. Were you by chance his massage therapist? Her face softened with concern as my eyes filled with tears. All 3 of them were my clients, she said. Which one is he? I pointed to the man in the orange shirt and she sighed. Oh yes, I'm really sorry. I started crying and apologized profusely. I can't believe he did that to you. Did he just ask outright? I asked. She hesitated but told me, "This is tough to hear, but you deserve the truth. I brought him into the room just like I did with you. When I knocked, he said he was ready, but when I walked in, he was lying on the table, fully erect, holding some cash. I immediately left and called the front desk. Jake escorted him out. I felt sick. I apologized again, left her a $100 tip, and drove straight home. I was ready to leave him, but then a strange calm came over me. I needed to know how deep this went. So, I acted normal when Adam came home, pretending it was just another night. After he went to bed, I went through his phone. His texts were clean, and there was no sign of Snapchat, WhatsApp, or anything else suspicious. Then I opened his Reddit account. I saw the 4 posts he made when he came back from imprisonment, which I'd read before. I was about to give up when I noticed I could switch accounts. What I found made my stomach turn. He was subscribed to multiple Asian women fetish subreddits and massage-related forums. The chats were even worse. Most of them were just faceless, anonymous people, probably men pretending to be women. But there was one that stood out, someone he was definitely meeting. They had detailed conversations about where they met, how much he paid, and what she would wear or do. He had been paying a sex worker for happy-ending massages, referring to her as Sok, a common Cambodian name. It probably wasn't her real name, just part of the fantasy he was paying for. There was another conversation I found on his phone that immediately felt familiar. As I kept reading, I realized it was between Adam and Tyler. They had been covering for each other's affairs for years. Then I came across the most gut-wrenching part. They were chatting like usual, and Adam mentioned his upcoming appointment. Tyler said, "I bet you wish you could have just stayed in Cambodia, not have to deal with all this crap, huh?" Adam replied, "Hell yeah, but what can you do? I got deported, lol." Tyler responded, "Well, you were cheating on her too. I'm surprised she didn't turn you in the first time she caught you." Adam said, "Yeah, she still had hope until she caught me again." It was all a lie. The whole story about being imprisoned was fake. He hadn't been in jail, he'd just left me. That night, I slept on the couch, telling him I'd fallen asleep there. The next day, I asked Tyler to meet me, pretending I needed help with something. When he showed up, I showed him the evidence of his own affair and told him I'd send it to his entire family if he didn't tell me everything. Tyler spilled everything. Adam had been obsessed with Asian porn, particularly the happy-ending massage fantasy, since high school. When we got together, it was because I apparently had the right look for him. Tyler tried to downplay it, saying Adam really did love me but just had an addiction. I told him to cut the crap and tell me about Cambodia. Adam had been involved in an online affair with a Cambodian woman for 2 years before his trip. That means it started while we were already together. His bachelor trip was an excuse to meet her in person. What I didn't know was that Adam had gotten visas for both Thailand and Cambodia. Tyler didn't want to go to Cambodia, so Thailand became their cover story. They spent the first morning taking selfies around the resort, but after that, Adam left to meet up with the woman in Cambodia. He spent 3 days with her and decided he was in love. She came from a well-off family, and Adam wanted more. So he and Tyler concocted the plan for Adam to disappear. Originally, Adam only planned to be gone for 30 days before coming back. But when the time was up, he extended his visa by another month. After that, he just stayed there without any legal status. While he was living with her, he started cheating on her too. When she found out, she kept him around because he promised to help her immigrate to the US as his wife. But after 4.5 years, she caught him again, dumped him, and reported him to the authorities, which led to his deportation. Adam had to confess everything to his parents, who I had grown incredibly close to. They feared losing contact with Jason, so they decided to keep everything from me. That betrayal hurt almost as much as what Adam did. They even told him to stay away from me, but at the same time, they wanted him to have a relationship with our son. I don't understand how they thought that wouldn't conflict. Adam ignored their advice and worked to win me back. When he succeeded, his dad pressured him to marry me immediately and told him to stop his awful behavior. His dad thought Adam had his fun and that marriage would straighten him out. But in reality, I had thrown away the best guy I'd ever had for a workaholic porn addict with a sick fetish. I feel like such a fool. I knew Tyler would tell Adam everything, so I sent Tyler's affair evidence to his whole family. Then I did the same with Adam's, sharing it with everyone I knew. Adam came home earlier than usual, completely furious and overwhelmed by messages. I already had my car packed with my things and the kids' belongings. My best friend had taken them earlier. Adam came at me aggressively at first, but I was ready for a fight. Then he tried to gaslight me, trying to explain things away, but I wasn't having it. I told him I knew about everything: Cambodia, the porn, the sex worker. He tried to defend himself, saying, "She's not a sex worker, just a college student trying to make some extra money." I shouted back, "That's even worse. You're exploiting a young girl who's struggling." He went silent after that. I told him he could expect divorce papers and nothing else. Then I left. It's been a few weeks now, and I feel like an idiot for not figuring this out sooner. I'm starting to recognize all the red flags I ignored. The long hours at work when we didn't need the extra money, the separate bank account, and how he always jumped at the chance to go on every business trip or conference. It was all just a way for him to feed his disgusting habits. The worst part is that he came back for me. He could have returned and just left me alone. I could have married Brian, and now, knowing what I gave him up for, I hate myself even more. Here's where I'm getting some pushback, though. I'm pushing for 100% custody with no visitation for him in the meantime. I have evidence of his porn addiction, work addiction, and his visits to sex workers. I'm also cutting off all contact with his parents. A few people, not many, are telling me that I shouldn't try to remove the father and grandparents from my kids' lives, but I disagree. I see Adam as a danger to them because of his self-destructive and manipulative behavior. As for his parents, they'll only see the kids during whatever supervised time Adam gets. Right now, I'm only willing to offer weekly supervised visits. Otherwise, I don't want them involved in my life at all. What do you all think? Am I going too far? Should I allow them to stay in my kids' lives? I know Adam is a good father when he's around, and his parents are great grandparents, but I can't move past the fact that all of it is built on lies and manipulation.